Hello, this is Max. This is a story about a girl who suffered from the loss of her father and met his brother, who turned out to be mentally unstable, which had a very negative impact on her. You can subscribe to the channel after watching. It helps us a lot in realizing the content.
A young girl named India Stoker enjoys playing in her backyard, engaging in outdoor activities like climbing trees. On her 18th birthday, she discovers a gift on a tree branch, a cake to celebrate the occasion. However, her joy is short-lived as she learns that her father, Richard, has passed away. During the funeral, India's mother, Evelyn, becomes emotional, and a mysterious man stands at a distance. In the kitchen, caretakers gossip about Richard's death until Mrs. McGarrick, the head caretaker, enters and they resume their duties. Mrs. McGarrick notices that India's shoes are too small and mentions her birthday present, which turns out to be a key. India had always believed that her father gifted her new shoes each year, unaware that they came from someone else. At the funeral, Evelyn introduces Charlie, Richard's brother and India's uncle, who had been absent for many years. India, being shy, doesn't warm up to him. Alone in her room, surrounded by outgrown shoes, India reflects on her father's death and the mysteries surrounding her family. Evelyn showcases taxidermied animals that India had hunted to Charlie and other guests, as Richard was proud of India's hunting skills. India grows suspicious of Charlie and witnesses him arguing with Mrs. McGarrick. Later, when Evelyn asks about Mrs. McGarrick's whereabouts, India denies seeing her, although she had earlier. Evelyn reveals that her relationship with Richard had become distant in recent years. India discovers a gift similar to the one on the tree branch in Charlie's room, but is interrupted before she can open it. Evelyn and Charlie drink wine in the kitchen, and Evelyn asks India to bring ice cream to the freezer. In the basement, India puts the ice cream away and returns upstairs. During dinner, India remains indifferent to Charlie's attempts at bonding. She questions her mother about Charlie's presence, and Evelyn confesses that Richard resented his brother for being absent. Alone at the table, India sips wine from Charlie's glass, unsettling him. The next day, at school, India encounters classmates who bully her, while another classmate disapproves. India ignores Charlie's presence and takes the bus home, with Charlie following in his car. India refuses to enter his car, disappointed by her mother's behavior. Charlie offers India an umbrella the next day, but she rejects it. She returns home drenched and frustrated, observing her mother's flirtation with Charlie. India grows increasingly angry and disappointed with her mother's actions. Evelyn plans to play tennis with Charlie, who wears Richard's clothes. India greets her Aunt Gwen, who unexpectedly visits. During dinner, Gwen expresses concern about Charlie living with them, which offends Evelyn. The conversation between Gwen and Evelyn escalates, leaving their relationship strained. Charlie effectively diffuses the tension and successfully prevents the argument from escalating. Following the meal, Gwen intends to spend the night at a hotel. In an attempt to make amends with Evelyn, Gwen extends an invitation for breakfast the next day. However, Evelyn declines the offer. India expresses a desire for Gwen to stay, but Gwen believes it would be more beneficial to leave. Upon arriving at the hotel, Gwen visibly displays her disgust at the condition of her room. Meanwhile, back at home, India scans through a book, flipping between pages featuring waves and seashells. The image evokes thoughts of ice cream in India's mind, prompting her to go downstairs and retrieve some. Meanwhile, Gwen contacts the hotel reception to inquire about her missing phone. India opens the freezer while Gwen simultaneously opens her door, discovering her phone. Evelyn, on the other hand, appears occupied as she grooms herself and applies her boldest shade of lipstick. She proceeds to go to Charlie's room, but he is nowhere to be found. At the same time, Gwen attempts to call her phone from a payphone booth. Suddenly, she spots Charlie outside, who has managed to locate her and return her phone. However, his intentions seem ominous as he threatens her life. In the basement, India makes a horrifying discovery when she finds Mrs. McGarrick's lifeless body in the freezer, realizing that Charlie is responsible for her death. The following day, India avoids Charlie after school and opts to take a different exit. In close proximity, a group of teenage boys loiters, obstructing India's path and mocking her situation with her uncle. Pitts, in particular, suggests that India's mother is engaged in an inappropriate relationship with her uncle, insinuating that India participates in their illicit activities. India confronts Pitts, angered by his remarks. In the distance, Charlie watches their encounter. As Pitts prepares to throw a punch, India defends herself by meeting his fist with a pencil. Before he can retaliate, Whip arrives, intimidating the group and causing them to retreat. Upon returning home, India seeks solace and release by playing the piano. However, her solitude is interrupted by Charlie's presence. He joins her at the piano and takes over, showcasing remarkable skill and talent. India stands her ground and engages in a musical collaboration with him. Together, they produce enchanting harmonies that infuse the lifeless room with vibrant energy and creative expression. As Charlie extends his hand across the piano, a sense of connection and shared passion envelops them both. India feels hot and heavy as her uncle touches her. Her feet start to move on their own, but then Charlie stops playing. He leans over, and when India turns to him, Charlie is gone. It was all in India's head. She had some weird psychosexual fantasy about his mysterious uncle. After some time, India reclines on her bed, feeling a mixture of defeat and satisfaction. She descends the stairs to surreptitiously listen in on Evelyn and Charlie. Although Charlie notices India, he chooses to disregard her presence. Charlie and Evelyn indulge in a teasing conversation, exchanging alluring glances. Eventually, they take to the dance floor and move together in a graceful rhythm. The night ends with a passionate kiss. Outside, India sees Charlie groping her mother's chest. Charlie is aware that India observed them, and he witnesses her fleeing. India discovers herself in an unfamiliar part of town. Fortunately, she spots Whip. India calls out to him, and Whip's fellow motorcycle riders depart to give him privacy. He then inquires about India's intended destination. Their journey takes them past the train tracks. Whip questions why India, who is typically conservative, is out in the middle of the night. India has tapped into an unknown aspect of herself, a primal instinct and a yearning to be desired. India starts running, and Whip pursues her. She pushes Whip against a tree, and they engage in passionate kissing. The intense moment abruptly halts when India bites a bit too hard. The sight of blood further ignites Whip's desire, and he forcefully advances. India attempts to resist him but fails. At that moment, Charlie emerges, holding a belt that he uses to restrain Whip. India fiercely kicks Whip while Charlie watches with pride in his eyes. They arrive back home, and India heads straight to the bathroom. She takes off her soiled clothes, but no amount of washing can erase the loss of her innocence. As she stands under the shower, memories of the disturbing incident come flooding back, and she tries to mask her cries with the sound of running water. In a moment of distraction, India was overpowered by Whip, and Charlie ended up killing him. The weight of the traumatic events is still evident in her tears. However, the memory of Whip's death triggers an unsettling feeling within her, leading her to experience a confusing sensation that ultimately culminates in an unusual physical response. After some time, India approaches her mother, Evelyn's room, seeking comfort. When Evelyn refuses to brush her hair, India offers to do it instead. During this interaction, India discloses that she witnessed Evelyn and Charlie kissing earlier, a revelation that surprises Evelyn as she wasn't aware of India's presence. India reflects on how she might have inherited her sneakiness from her father, who taught her to be cautious and make calculated decisions, even if they involved wrongdoing. Another day, while in her father's study, India discovers a locked drawer, and using a key she was given, she unlocks it. Inside, she finds a gun and a box filled with old photos of Richard, Charlie, and their youngest brother, Jonathan. Noticing that Jonathan is missing from the newer photos, India becomes intrigued. She stumbles upon another box containing letters addressed to her, all written by Charlie. The letters depict Charlie's obsession with India, yet she remains unfazed and instead finds herself fascinated by her uncle's tales and experiences. While ascending the stairs with the letters, she accidentally drops some and picks them back up. It's during this moment that she notices the sender's address mentioned at the back, revealing it to be Crawford Institute, a mental hospital. Despite this revelation, India decides not to call the sheriff's office immediately. When she spots Charlie outside, appearing content and holding shears, she hesitates and hangs up the phone for reasons not yet clear. India confronts Charlie at the door, urging him to leave before Evelyn awakens. Charlie expresses his desire to share what happened to Richard, but India's curiosity lies in uncovering more about Jonathan. Years ago, when Jonathan was just learning to climb stairs, Richard's undivided attention was directed toward him, leaving Charlie feeling neglected. On a fateful summer day, while playing with Jonathan, Charlie witnessed him sliding into a sandpit. Rather than offering help, Charlie chose to bury his brother alive using the sandcastle he had built. Since then, Charlie had been confined to a mental institution. One day, Richard visited Charlie, who was on the verge of being discharged. On their way home, Richard stopped in front of a convertible, a gift for Charlie. He had also prepared everything Charlie needed to start a new life in New York. Charlie was overwhelmed with emotion, shedding tears, as Richard made it clear that India and his family were to be kept far away from Charlie. This revelation caused Charlie to walk away, vomiting by the river. When he returned, he seemed different, emanating a sinister aura and carrying a sharp rock, which he ultimately used to kill Richard. Enraged, India slaps Charlie and demands an explanation for his return after all those years. On her 18th birthday, Charlie could no longer wait. He had done everything he did in order to be with her. Kneeling before India, he presents her with a gift, a pair of high heels symbolizing her transition into womanhood. Charlie implores India to accompany him to New York, to which she happily agrees. However, as Charlie is about to touch her cheek, they notice Evelyn observing them. Evelyn's gaze falls upon India's new shoes, and she apologizes before leaving the room. Nightfall arrives, and Evelyn questions why couples have children, believing that offspring serve as a means to rejuvenate a relationship, a blank canvas upon which dreams can be painted. However, Evelyn does not leave India in this light. She despises her daughter and wishes for her to fail. Evelyn departs from the dining room and invites Charlie to her bedroom, instructing India to pack her belongings as they will be departing soon. Charlie enters Evelyn's room to bid her farewell, but she refuses to let them leave. Throughout Charlie's stay, Evelyn has come to realize something. Hints such as Richard's departure on India's birthday and Aunt Gwen's sudden silence all point to Charlie's malicious intentions. Cornered by Charlie, Evelyn succumbs to his advances, unbuckling his belt and engaging in a passionate encounter on the floor. Charlie forces India to witness the scene as he strangles Evelyn. In a chilling moment, India emerges at the bedroom door, armed with a rifle. With the teachings of her father echoing in her mind, she takes a deep breath and shoots Charlie. While Evelyn survives, India checks Charlie's vital signs, her face partly covered in blood. The following day, a new grave is found in their backyard. In the garage, India conceals a pair of shears in a bag. She departs in Charlie's convertible while her mother remains asleep. However, she is soon pulled over by the sheriff for speeding. India flirts with him, fueled by her newfound taste for blood, and proceeds to stab the sheriff. She observes the wounded man crawling for his life, a wicked smile adorning her face. Taking aim with a rifle, India takes a deep breath and fires.
So, what do you think of this movie? Write your thoughts in the comments under the video, and also do not forget to put a like and subscribe to the channel. Goodbye.